Hey guys, welcome back to the Cheeky Bastards podcast, a podcast that's all about cricket and the banter that comes with it. If you feel my voice a little lower, it's because obviously Australia just lost to New Zealand. And yeah, I took, usually we record as soon as the match is done, but Adi very gracefully gave me 15, 20 minutes to go cry. And so yeah, I'm done now. Like, abhi सूख गया है थोड़ा सा.
Yeah,
I
that's why I'm
think we can
sitting
get up.
near a corner. See, corner for you where you
Yeah,
can.
corner of my house. Yeah, that's what I was doing. So now that I'm done crying and I've gone through everything, watched a highlight even again, just to see what the fuck was happening, listen to everything that Watson and the commentators panel was saying and all of that. Yeah, that happened basically now. And as I said before the match, this match will define who will go to the semifinals, and clearly Australia is not going to semifinals now, right? So this happened with India before in the last World Cup, where they just lost their first match, right, to New Zealand and then to Pakistan, and they were out, right? Essentially, that's going to be the case here as well. If like England has just beaten Australia in the three-match T20 series, like by a whitewash, basically. The third match didn't count, but if you see that, even that was the case. England was on the upper hand. England had the upper hand. So I don't see Australia winning to England, and even if they win the other matches, it doesn't matter. Like New Zealand and England are then going. So yeah, they
Right, yeah.
fucked this one up very, very badly, dude. Like, do you know this? New Zealand hasn't won anything against Australia for a decade.
Yes,
Anything.
yes.
Test,
11 years
ODI.
actually. 11 years actually. Yeah.
It's shocking to me that would happen. It was not expected at all. Obviously it was a fierce competition. Like New Zealand is not no one's, but it's not like it was Afghanistan versus England and
Australia
Afghanistan
kind of
would win.
thing.
Like
Yeah, right.
that's not happening. But still, it was something that at least I was not expecting it to happen like that. Like I'm totally in disbelief. Right, for the first three wickets, I was talking to somebody on the phone and I said, okay, because I'm talking to you on the phone, three wickets are gone, so I have to stop now. And obviously they were not responsible for it. Uh,
Right.
what's your opinion? What happened? Where did they went wrong?
See, I'll start from the beginning. So, as you said, right, the competition was fierce. We are not expecting a really one-sided contest. Although it was questionable. I mean, the surprising part was 11-year history. Not today's match so much, but the 11-year history that even though New Zealand have been a very good team, but they have failed to win even a single match in there. That was a surprising
Mm.
bit. About the fierce competition, that was only on paper because on field there was no competition as such. It felt like a Namibia versus India kind of match where India scores 200 and then skedaddles them out in a 100 or a score like that.
Yeah,
When
man.
out of form Maxwell is your highest scorer, and a Pat Cummins, who's definitely the worst bowler of your team right now, is your second highest scorer. There are multiple things which went wrong for you. I don't really blame the combinations and everything as such. It just felt like Australia didn't step up today. That was the case.
So that was the official analysis that everybody was doing, and then Watson came in and said the same thing. You guys see, this is the 11, right? We're not.
Yes,
There's no tampering with it. There's nobody in Australia
Australia
that will
tampering.
replace
Good
anybody
words.
that is going to replace anybody in one of these 11, right? There's no player sitting in the bench anywhere in the corners of Australian beaches.
Green hurrah, yes.
No, nothing. No one could come in and would have saved this match or this game basically in general, or the last games that they've lost, right? This is not a one man's problem or something like that. It's a complete effect overall. If this 11 cannot win, basically Australia cannot win, right? You can't say that you had this person you could have removed or that person you could. The only conversation that is happening for logical people is to get Ashton Agar in, because I guess the two spinner combination worked in New Zealand's favor. But that's not a conversation to be had. Like, I don't think Australia uses two spinners, so that theory is out of there. The other change that the non-logical people like Clark are giving is the getting Smith in, which is not going to solve anything, right? Smith Smith's Tukur is not going to win you the World Cup. It didn't win you the last World Cup also, right? Like he didn't contribute anything, so it's as good as not having a player, right?
Right,
Like,
yes.
he did what Williamson did today, the entire tournament. Like he'll play 20 ball, 20 run, and then get out. That's of no use. You need one
If
set
not for
batsman on your top squad.
Yeah, right. If not for that Williamson 23 of 23, this New Zealand side could have easily scored 220, I think, if he would have, not wasted the way he did. I mean, everyone was scoring at 150, 180, 200, and there's just one guy barely managing 100 after 16.
I'll tell you this. To me, when I was watching the match, when I was watching New Zealand bat, I was like, oh God, okay, it's a very good batting pitch, basically, right? The pitch report was wrong, then probably they read it wrong. This is a nice batting pitch. They were saying it was two pace, blah, 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 this and that. I was like, this is not it. But then when
Right.
Australia started batting, it was, oh, it is two paced, right? So, and I'm not just saying one player or two players, no, the entire team, even Williamson, the way he was batting for his 20 runs, right? Was on a different surface altogether, it looked like. And Australia batted on a different surface altogether. It was.
Oh,
Oh,
painful,
and
painful, yeah.
Finch agreed to this. They lost.
Yeah.
They were asking, to Finch, like, what's happening? What's happened and all. And he said, like, they outclassed us in all three departments. It was not like just one, right? You have a
Yeah.
Superman catch, just one, right?
Yeah.
And
Shout out to Glenn Phillips for this.
yeah, and then I'll give another shout out to Zampa, who's left a catch like that off Conway when he was hitting, right? So you have like, if you just take three images in your mind from this game, just remember this: that Superman catch, right? Then the one that Zampa left, so that tells you how good New Zealand was on the field, and Zampa leaving a catch tells you how good Australia was in the field, right? Then you have batsmen. So the best batting performance, as you said, is from Glenn Maxwell, who's out of form completely. And then you have Conway there, right?
Right, yes.
In bowling, I thought the spinner combination worked in favor because Australia's weakness has always been, and I think will always be, spinners. That did
Right.
work in their favor. And yeah, batting was the most pathetic from Aussies, basically. Like, I did not feel like this is Australian team bat. It's, as you said, right? It's like Namibia trying to get to 200. No, your Australian cricket team, dude, you're supposed to chase these targets. This should be easy work for you, more or less. But not easy, okay, fine. But 180 should be easy for you to get, right? At least that's the expectation. But this is not like, I cannot expect it at all. I do not accept it only from the batting. Like I don't think so, dude. Andrew McDonald is going to leave these guys at all.
He can have a McDonald. But I'm loving this rant right now. Like, I am enjoying this podcast. I'm an audience right now.
No, dude, it's so pathetic to see, like, these players are getting out, hitting boundaries. What the fuck is wrong with you? Everybody know Australia has larger boundaries, right? You played in like, you have 11 players, 3 or 4 of them would have played in this fucking ground only, right? Most of their career. How the fuck do you not know where you're not supposed to hit? How does New Zealand know how to do that? New Zealand was hitting 66, 67, 70-meter boundaries, right? The shorter ones. And Australia is getting out, going for the 90-meter boundary. Are you idiots? Do you not know your own fucking ground? You had one advantage. You had one advantage here, right? Because crowd advantage, anyways, Asian teams take away, right? If you have a Pakistan match, there will be more Pakistanis than Australians. If you have an Indian match, everyone would be an Indian, right? So the crowd advantage, there is nothing. So you had the corners, right? You knew where to hit. You even didn't know that. So I don't know what. It just seems to me like, these guys are not prepared for World Cup, and this doesn't look to me now. And I think I said a little bit of it in the last bit. I didn't say that they'll not win. I'll still say they'll win. If you ask me to bet, I'll still bet on Australia only because heart is there. But to me, it doesn't look like the usual Australia that wins World Cup, because the one thing they're known for is the clutch situations. So whenever there's a situation, not just one, if there are 4 clutch situations, Australia wins 3 of them usually, and then wins the matches in World Cup, not in general.
Yeah.
They have lost every single clutch opportunity in this match and the last three they had with England. So it's to me it almost looks like. And if you remember, Matthew Wade also didn't get them any wins as such in India, right? Like we were depending on Matthew Wade to finish a few matches. One match he couldn't finish off. There, the matches versus England also he couldn't finish off. So where I'm stuck now is, if you ask me, are there any changes to come? No. This is the 11, right? That's it. There's no change to this 11. From me, I'll want to know from you also. But what is supposed to be changed is, I guess they just need somebody like Langer in to beat the fuck out of them when they do something like this. Like they should be afraid of somebody so that they don't go and shit. Like perform like shit like this ever again. They need that. I think Andrew McDonald is not being harsh on them at all, or whatever the reason is. But this is pathetic, dude. Australians were not the favorite last time around, and they won how they won, right? They played how they played under Langer. And this right now, this doesn't feel to me like they were favorites coming in, and now almost out of the league, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
So see, my point is, when we look at this match, obviously this was a pathetic performance, right? We have all the explanation as to what went wrong. We can see those things, right? But I don't think it requires a lot of analysis on what went wrong. Rather, you focus. What I feel is that they were not ready for, as I mentioned earlier, right? That they did not step up, or as if they were not mentally aware of the situation. When we think of these big matches, you think that you have a plan for this person, you have a plan for this kind of bowling, like those kind of things. For example, when I saw Maxwell batting, even though he didn't score big, but those 28 when he was batting at 60 for 4 or 70 for 4, that kind of score, he looked like it looked like, yes, he's not able to counter spin very well, so he has decided that he's going to play the reverse sweep. And I actually want to call that one out, that 95 meter 6 in a reverse sweep is something that I have not seen play anyone, and it's a big thing, right? For most of the players, it's achievement of sort. I mean, big achievement when you 90 meter 6. That's a big deal. But to do that in reverse or reverse slash switch hit, that was a very a good moment for the Australian side. They can think that Maxwell is sort of getting some runs, hitting those big boundaries that you wanted. That can work in their favor. But it's more about
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm saying it's more about them preparing before the match. Yes, they need to plan better. They need to, have plan A and plan B, those kind of things. What happens when your first over has gone for 16? And what happens when your Hazelwood doesn't give you economical over upfront? Then what do you do? Who do you go to? Like, why did you not go to Mitch Marsh or Maxwell in the middle overs, or at any point? Because Maxwell can bowl very well in the power plays. We have seen that, and I'm sure, like, if you have gone hit for 30 runs in 2 overs, you can see there is some sort of no help available for the pacers. So try out one of your spinners. You can't try Zampa, so you could have tried Maxwell, and those were the mistakes that costed him.
No, what do you mean by no help to pacers? These idiots were not able to bowl properly today. That's all, right? There was help to pacers. You have Saudi coming out swinging. Saudi is getting swing. Kill me. Right, Bolt is fine. Saudi is getting swing, and Stark is not able to do anything. Hazelwood had to bowl a Yorker to get the first wicket. Right, Hazelwood had to do that. Right, and the only reason he got that wicket is because nobody expects him to bowl a Yorker. Right, if a man is clearing his, is leaving the line, out the line to hit balls, and you have Stark in front of you, the first thing you do is give him your Yorker, right? Because he'll not be able to play that, right? Stark is not able to do that for 2 overs. Then Hazelwood had to come and do that for Stark. Okay, this is what you're supposed to be doing, right? So it's no, dude. Seriously, and we talk about form, right? I always say the form is the most important thing going into a World Cup. So if I see South Africa's form is all off, so I don't see them as somebody who can win. We saw what happens when form is bad for West Indies right now. They're out, right? And we see barring New Zealand, every other team has this constraint of form, right? New Zealand just does New Zealand stuff sometimes. We every single time we have made a top 4, we have ignored New Zealand, and every time they go, that always happens. Anyways. With India, the informed players would be Sky and Hardik, right? So if Sky and Hardik do not perform a match, suddenly you lose a match, and then you start blaming the entire 11, right? But when you're
Right.
winning, you have to make sure, as we have discussed multiple times, right? When you have 2 or 3 informed players and your entire team is dependent on them, that's not how you're going to win a tournament at all. And the same
Actually,
thing is here.
I
Sorry, go
wanted to
ahead.
call this one out about Pakistan. We talk about them being, what do we say? You cannot never be sure on that thing what they will do. We
What
know
they're
that
going to do.
Babar and Rizwan are going to give a strong, good foundation, not quick, but a good foundation, like set up a score. But what is helping Pakistan right now, and I think it will help them go to. I'm expecting them in the semi-final at least, is that every match a new guy steps up. Like they had Shaheen
Yeah.
Shah Afridi, who was doing brilliantly. Now suddenly
Then
Harry
team.
Soft says that I'm the leader of the pace attack. Naseem Shah comes in. Maybe I look 23. I'm only 18. I'm going
Yeah.
to take all the wickets. And then
Mhm.
there's one day that Mohammad Nawaz says, "No, I'm a batsman and I'll score a 20 ball 50." Then someday, like every day, I see a different guy stepping up and they're winning the match. So for opposition, it is going to be headache. Like, do you plan for Babar? Do you plan for Rizwan? Or do you plan for any other, stupid fella who's going to hit a 20 ball 50 that day? And you need contributions from all the players if you have to win the tournament. That happened for Australia in the World Cup last time. And if they want to have any chance to beat England, they need at least 3 of their batters here, pointing out it, to step up and
Top 4.
score with
Mm.
a strike rate of at least 170 and score a 50, something like that. I mean, Warner, Marsh, these two especially need to do that thing. I don't expect Finch to do, definitely not Finch. It would be a
Oh,
too
see,
much ask,
that's what I was
as
going
if I'm asking for a girlfriend kind of thing.
that's what I was going to tell you. So in second match against England, Finch scored, right? First or second match against England, Finch scored, right? So
Normally,
suddenly we were discussing that, okay, maybe Finch is coming back to form because we're close to World Cup. Maxwell scored in one of the match a few runs, but the thing that you just said is what is actually form, right? People say form very easily, right? The only player in form for the entire 11, I guess, that Australia has right now is David Warner, right? And the reason for that is because he has never gone out of form, right? The same year that he
right,
went
yes.
for no runs, I guess, in IPL was the same year that he won the man of the tournament for World Cup. So that man is a little different to
Right.
rate, right? That's not a usual human specimen. So I'll ignore him. But other than that, if you see, right, there's nobody who is in form. Marsh won the last World Cup for us because Marsh was in form before the World Cup and during the World Cup. Marsh was the best. I think I said this here. Marsh is the best player in the world right now at that point, which I say is Sky right now. Before the tournament, I said was Pandya, but I have seen now a shift to more to Sky. Sky is the most informed player, period, bowler,
Right, yes.
batsman, whatever,
Yeah.
in form right now. So, um, yeah, they're certainly missing the top three. See, if you're top three, Australia's top three, when they don't perform, usually Australia won't survive. This with the Finch and Warner era. Even in 2019 World Cup, all the matches that Australia won were because Finchy was playing. Warner was a little off that year, but Finchy was playing brilliantly. So they were like, they were going through the matches because you need somebody in your top order, especially in Australia, to perform. That's not happening now, and when it doesn't happen, I don't see them having a chance. So one, you said Marsh. I'll not say that. I'll say one of Finch or Warner will have to
Warner.
play longer innings, like a 50, 70 run, as you were saying. One only.
But
If only one of them can do that, what is happening is rest of them know their roles. That I come in
right,
at seventh over, or I come in 10th over, or I come at 15th over. That is defined. So that will work for them. But if Tim David is supposed to be on crease on the seventh or eighth over, that's not, you're never gonna
none.
win that match, dude. That's just not happening. If you're expecting Maxwell at like fourth over or fifth over to come and squeeze again 16 overs, that's not happening. That's not how those players are set up.
Yeah.
The base is your top two, so one of them has to perform. The match you get both the
I
openers
agree.
off, the team is going to win. But overall today, I'm not going to blame one of them only. The entire 11 sucked and sucked real hard. Like Williamson's wife need not do anything tonight. It's done by 11
Oh God,
Aussies on
yes.
the team. Okay.
Oh, right, right,
Seriously,
yes.
what's happened?
A
Okay,
lot of
yeah,
frustration, definitely.
too much of a rant there. But okay, before we close, I would want you to know, you to tell me. This is all mostly my opinion. What do you think Australia needs to do to win the next match against Sri Lanka, the Asia Cup winners, basically?
Right, and the team that lost to Namibia as well. Sri Lanka are also turning out to be that unexpected kind of team that they don't know what they are going to do, kind of team. So, Australia, see, they still have very capable players, even though Warner, Finch, and Marsh are not in their best form, and same goes for Maxwell as well. Um, Stark is not exactly bowling the Yorkers that you expect him to, but they have very capable players. And against Sri Lanka, you just need to make sure that you are accurate. You don't necessarily have to be lethal on every ball, but if you are accurate enough, if you have a good enough plan, you can restrict their batters. They're not going to be Sky kind of players that who can play 360 shots and make a joke of your every plan. So plan better, execute it like part wise, and that will definitely work out. Another thing they need to focus on as well is to get the big wins. So their batters have to go for the big shots even more, because they have already lost 4.45 run rate. So if they want to have any chance, at some point to qualify, if they want to, they need to bring that into positive side so that it doesn't hurt them at a later point.
Yeah, that's not happening. So the only way for Australia to qualify now is to win all the remaining matches. It's become an RCB situation for them, and
Right.
if it goes to an actual RCB situation when you have to put the calculator out, just shut that down, because then it's not happening. If you lose by 90 runs in your first match, it's a -4, I guess, right? 4.5, -4.5, something like that, NRR.
Yeah.
You're not going to recover from that, right? You're not going to recover from that
Right.
at all. So, yeah,
See, that's
there's
what
no
I'm telling
chance
you, right?
for
Even if
them.
Australia win all their matches,
Then it's
even if
fine.
Australia win all their matches, then this what do we say? England will have 4 wins. Like considering they will win on New Zealand, New Zealand will have 4 wins, and these three teams will have 4 wins. Then comes the net run rate factor, and this minus 4.45. If you had only lost by 10 runs, 15 runs, 20 runs, you would have minus
Mm.
0.5, -1 kind of that. So you can easily, like, 1 or 2 win will balance the scales, and you'll be back to competition for the second spot at least. But with a run rate like this, you need to win big another one, like maybe two wins with 50 runs a difference to have a chance at the second spot.
See, that's what I was saying, right? And that's why I said, like, when I was saying it in our chat earlier, you were not having it. But this was a virtual qualifier for them, right? And they've lost it now. So I don't see a
Right, right.
chance now for them to come back from this. Like -4, no, dude. That's just not happening. And again, for people who do not believe me, just go and check what happened last year with India, right? This is the same fucking situation. It was just the first match that they lost, then they won a few, then they lost the other one, and then it was like, okay, no, if we can still make it by 100, fuck no. It doesn't work like that. And
We'll have a look on that.
I'm bad at math, but I'm not that bad. It doesn't work like that at all. You're just out if you lose that one important match, because that's what the game is, right? You have your
Right.
if if Australia is going to lose to New Zealand or England,
Yeah.
either one of them, then that just tells you that now you're second in position immediately. And now if New Zealand wins over England, then you're
Hmm.
third in position now, fighting to be second, and that's not a good place to be at all.
Right. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
One good news though, before I think I have is there's only a 25% chance now for rain tomorrow.
For the rain. Oh, I thought when you said no good news, I thought good news is that you were able to resale the Australian jersey with a only 20% discount.
No.
Cool.
I have it
Okay.
still.
Okay.
I obviously I threw it, but I threw it in my room only. I'm thinking what to do with it now. I will obviously wear it someday, but
At some point.
definitely definitely not this year. I don't think it's coming back this year, because this was very disappointing. Um, yeah, so there is a
Okay.
chance
Yeah.
for India versus Pakistan to happen tomorrow, right? And I think if I can discuss very quickly about that, right, just to cover India
Hmm.
Pakistan just a little bit, I think the game is going to be every time the India would be, Team India would be ahead, the 2 overs that Shaheen has in between, right? They're going to use that.
Yeah.
So whenever India has a partnership growing at any point, they'll use Shaheen Shah Afridi to break it. So the entire game is going to be when to use Shaheen properly from Pakistan side, and from India's side, how to avoid it. I think everything else is just in balance.
Okay, I have a slightly different take. So what I see
Mhm.
right now, based on the what I saw in the practice matches and the last few matches when Shine was not there, that Harris-off is going to be a very important factor as well. I mean, in this World Cup
No, sure.
squads for every other team,
Mhm.
I think Markwood and Harris-off are two, quickest bowler, and I give advantage to Harris-off here because he has been accurate as well. So I think 2 overs for Shine will be at the top, and in the middle overs, India need to control the game, especially against Harrisov, who is going to be the wicket taker. And for in middle order, if he takes wicket of someone like a Suryakumar Yadav or a Hardik Pandya, you're fucked. That's where
No,
you're fucked.
agreed.
For example, in the 12th
See,
or 13th
obviously,
over, if there is one, then
there's going to be competition, obviously, right? I'm not saying that that's not
right,
going to
yes,
happen.
yes.
India versus fucking Pakistan, right? Now that Pakistan has won one match against India, they're going to
Yeah.
be, even more hyped up for some reason. So, that is there. But I'm not saying that Harris Ruff wouldn't be important or any other player wouldn't be important. You and I can go to sleep today and tomorrow we wake up late and find out Rizwan was the main factor for the match. Or as you said, Asif was the Ali, we don't know
Right.
who's going to be. But what I wanted
Yeah,
to say
right.
was they're going to use him, Shaheen, as the key piece. And
And a crucial over.
India needs to make sure that they are equipped. So, like, you have the best batsman not playing stupidly against them. So, like, if you have Sky there, because as I said, right, India is dependent on two big pieces, Sky and Hardik. So, if Shaheen gets one of these two,
Right.
right, it's cheap, then that's going to be a problem. Then, in any case, if you're chasing or you're making the runs, it doesn't matter. That's the one break that these guys would want to have because rest. Obviously, they're going to have plans for everybody,
Right.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
these two, you don't have a plan right now, right? There are so much in form, especially Sky, who can hit anywhere, that you don't have any particular plans against him. And speaking of plans, Australia, that's something that's called plan. When you plan, like what you do is, right, you go to a board, you write, okay, this batsman plays here, maybe. You do something of that maybe from the next time.
There
Just
was a
don't wake up and show up on the fucking field.
there was a bowler from Scotland side, I believe. He had a paper with notes on which player does what. Like Nicholas Puran likes to sweep. Don't bowl full. So yeah, Australia probably need that shark going after the every ball. Okay,
I,
this is we are playing against England, right? They can't play swing. Or I have this capacity to bowl Yorkers as well, right? I'll try that.
No,
It
definitely they
probably
need to
needs
write it
that.
down in their hand or something at least. I remember last World Cup or something. I don't remember. I think World Cup. Stark's wife gave him a note. Just bowl pace. Right? Like just bowl fast. Just bowl fast.
Bring
And he
Stark's
did
wife.
that. Right? If you
Yeah,
can do that, dude. If you can bowl 152 at Stark's length, do that, dude.
right.
Even if it's a full 150 is very difficult to bat. Right? Do that. Just do that fucking on the wickets, right? You'll get your wickets. But do something. There was nothing today that they were doing, dude. Like bowlers gave up,
Yep.
other than Hazelwood, I saw. Zampa was getting hit. Like nobody was stepping up at any point. Even Maxwell, when he hit that six, I was like, okay, fine. Maybe Maxwell
Yep.
can do that today. Man, the very next over or something, he was gone as well. Again, reverse sweeping. Right? He was reverse sweeping when he
Yes.
got
Yes.
bowled on.
Trying to
So
Yep. Yep.
it's as I said, right, it's going to
It's
depend
sad. It's sad.
completely. It's sad. And it reminds me
It's
of
sad.
2019 match against New Zealand, right? The semi-final, World Cup semi-final. This is what they did
We
there
didn't
as
have
well.
to go to India.
No,
Right.
no,
Go ahead
no.
then. I'll cry.
There were two heartbreaks in
Go
those
ahead.
semi-finals, right? But this happened to Australia there as well, right? Like they were playing very well before that. They even defeated, I think, England in the groups
Yeah.
or whatever was
Right.
before. But in semis, the top three got out cheaply, right? And then there was nothing they could do. I think they scored some 150, 70 kind of a run in a ODI World Cup. And then Roy came out and hit half of those runs in the first 5, 6 overs only. So,
Oh.
I've seen this before, this happening. It was very disheartening at that point. But yeah, I want them to win. right? If somebody asked who's going to win this World Cup, I'm going to defend Australia still. But
Right.
dude, I don't see it happening. If I'm talking to you man to man, I don't see it happening.
So your basically point is that you want Australia to win, but you're not confident on front. To be put in a very light note. I mean, that's how we can put it.
There's zero confidence in them right now from my side, basically.
Low on confidence, right?
Yeah, like I'm worried about the Sri Lanka match, man. Like I'm fucking worried about the Sri Lanka match. Never in the history of World
Oh,
Cups was I worried about a Sri Lanka match, right, with Australia. But this time I'm like, I don't know, dude. Who else do we got, right? Do we have Afghanistan? I'll be scared of Afghanistan. They will spin. They can't play spin, right? I genuinely don't know this time, dude. I'm fucking
yeah.
scared is what I can tell you. Right. And I'm not wearing that
And I'm
jersey.
and I'm enjoying this World Cup already. Like, what better way to start?
Dude, I
Uh,
hope you get to enjoy, right? I hope you get to enjoy. And we all get to at least watch the match tomorrow. If we get to watch the match, I'm fine with any of the outcomes. I'm good. But at least
right,
it should be some outcome. It shouldn't be washed off. Like India, Pakistan being washed off is like, what's the point of having a World Cup?
right now, true.
That's the one match we get out of that we never usually get. Yeah, I think that's it, dude. I can't discuss any more about this. Let
I
me go
can't
cry
cry
a little bit.
anymore.
Yeah. No, now like I've cried. सूख गया था. Now I'm
And round
hydrated.
two,
Yeah, I had some water in between. It's
that's what she
hydrated.
said.
Yeah, and I can go and cry again. All right. With that sad note, I'll go back and cry. Thanks for joining us. We'll meet you tomorrow, hopefully, if India wins, and if not, we are not anti-national, so we'll meet you the day after tomorrow. Bye bye.